The new channel. See the new. The new channel. See the new. The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel, here to help you see the new you. My name is Lloyd Luna and this is The Big Picture. Hello everyone! Good evening! Wherever you're watching from around the world, magandang gabi po mula sa Pilipinas. It's July 7, Wednesday. Like to say hi to Harry Arquiza watching, Teresa Pasut, Punchester C, and Siren Gaho. How are you there in my hometown, Quezon Province? Dorothy is also watching. The show will be premiering tomorrow, yung The Fort Project, live stream from Dubai. And Miss Susan Tagle, good evening. How have you been? Ooh, I'm very excited for tonight because we have brought someone really special. But before I can even talk about that, let's talk about you. Why don't you share our live stream for tonight? If you can also organize your own watch party, please do so because you wouldn't want to miss this interview because this is really important for me because I guess what we're going to talk about tonight is something that can help you move forward from this crisis. All right, Ma'am Susan Tagle is saying good evening, TNC. Ma'am Susan has been watching since April when we started the show. So we really thank Ma'am Susan. She can actually get sort of a loyalty award for staying with TNC. And watching from Tarlac is Miss Cho. Magandang gabi po sa inyo. Okay, if you have questions, suggestions, or comments, please drop them, write them down, our comment stream, and we're going to actually read them if we have the time. If you are celebrating your birthday, happy birthday! It's a birthday without the party because we are not allowed to do so. But then again, we should still celebrate, I guess. Celebrations small. We have to keep our social distances. Whew. How did the world become like this is something that is a mystery. But I guess it's something that we can emerge still victorious but we have to come up with sort of a plan, a strategy, or maybe some principles, and hopefully those principles can help us rebound from this crisis really, really fast. Hello, Diane Sarmiento. Finally, you're watching on time. Diane has watched the other episode, I think, with a British guest, and now she's going to watch with a Canadian guest, which is another English speaking interview. Challenging, right? So don't expect me to talk too much tonight because I may run out of English words. We are going to have a very good evening. And we are going to make this work tonight. So bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. If you have questions, suggestions, comments, please do write them down. And if you are still not sharing this live stream, please do so. And also organize watch parties because, again, your friends, your family members, your associates, and your workplaces can actually benefit from this show because we are going to talk about, how does this sound? Nomadic mindset. How does it sound? Nomads. What about this? You can actually be in some place, but settling for too long is not actually a good idea. So Diane says, let's go. We can do it. Thank you for your motivation. I hope you can also drop some questions so that question can be asked to our guest. Thank you for watching, Rochelle Jane Baluyot from Pampanga. How have you been? I hope you're okay. Okay, so you can actually stay in a place, but don't settle for too long because this is the very idea on how people can actually succeed, not staying for too long. And this is something that we're going to talk about tonight with my guest. Of course, before I introduce to you our guest, the normal routine is correct. Headlines from the Manila Times. Groups challenge anti-terrorism law. We have to open economy according to the palace. DOH to hospitals ensure ample beds for COVID patients. Secretary Anyo blames COVID rise on stubborn citizens. Live telecast, an option for 2020 State of the Nation address. Media included in DOH testing subgroups. Groups seek free COVID testing treatment. And DepEd and NTC to air learning programs. Headlines presented to you by the Manila Times. For more news and information, please go to manilatimes.net or download their application at digitaledition.manilatimes.net. Hello, Ma'am Joyce Rimando. Thank you so much for dropping by. I hope manood kayo. 45 minutes to. Okay, so it's about time. Let's call on our very important guest. A highly celebrated athlete, international at that. now a professional speaker and author of the best-selling book, The Nomadic Mindset. A Canadian who I think now is in Singapore. You're going to be amazed by this guy. You just don't know where he is at a particular time. Okay, let's bring in the guy. Ladies and
Lloyd, you're crazy.
I am. I'm just so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for coming to the big picture.
Hey, it's a great experience always to be with you, Lloyd, and to be with the big picture. You're always creating a big picture.
Yeah, it's like your picture is 1 by 1. Mine is kind of 3R. How is it that you're larger than me? I'm the host of the show.
I have no idea. How did that happen?
Okay, but anyway, that doesn't matter.
Maybe you have to sit closer to the camera. I don't know.
But I look burned.
Yeah, you have a suntan. Me, I don't. If I look further and further, I get closer and closer to.
Oh, please don't.
I can sit back.
Something reflects on the camera. If you move closer, something reflects to the camera, reflects back. Some sort of a light. How have you been, my friend? It's been a while since we talked about in person when you came to the Philippines, and I'm really happy to see you again.
It's always amazing to be seen with you and seeing you. I mean, you have an awful lot of fun. We have a fun time together, and I think that comes from our nomadism and nomadic history of life and our excitement. So I think it's really great to be here with you. And I mean, you've been busy during COVID, very busy.
Oh yeah, when you first heard about it, what was the first thing that came into your mind? That there is a COVID-19 and this is very easy to you can get contaminated by it very easily. You thought about your business. What was the first thing that you thought?
Well, to tell you the truth, I was off nomading. I was in Namibia. I went, first of all, to speak in Mumbai in the middle of February, and then I went on to Namibia because I wanted to spend some time with the San, the Bushman people. The Gods Must Be Crazy. Those, if anybody knows of that movie, long time ago. And then the Himba. So I wanted to do research, continue my nomadic research. So I was away, and it was pretty sketchy, the internet. So I had no clue what was really going on in the outside world, so to speak. And then when I would go, ooh, it doesn't sound so much fun being out there in the real world. I'm not sure if I want to go back out there. And I thought, I want to stay here in the bush, and I want to stay and enjoy all these wonderful people.
That's unfair. You cannot do that. I mean, we are all in this together as a humanity. Come on.
I know. Well, and so what happened is that I just got out of Namibia in time, actually one day after they closed the airport. And then I just got out of South Africa back to Singapore in time. And luckily that was a great experience. But what did I start to think? Well, I think it's something that nomads do. And when I look at different nomadic cultures in the world, is that they do a great job at watching or observing. And so I spent a lot of time observing. I saw a lot of my colleagues going straight to webinars, putting all their stuff up on webinars. And I just thought, I can't do that right now. I'm just really out of the bush. My head is just really not there. I'm into a slow-mo of watching. And so that was really what I did. And so what I decided to do was to just stay watching, letting everything percolate inside and look for what is the gap. And what do I mean by the gap? Because many people were doing what they normally do and just in another form, another platform. And then I thought, okay, but let's look at the whole big picture as to what is needed with people today. Where is this going? Let's lay low, look for the place in. What is that comes in? And so there was that compassion, the gratitude that was about really being with the people, with as many people as possible, not pushing business. That was not necessarily. So I didn't go that way. Others did. That was fine. Now I see the path road forward. And now I moved into the gap. And so that gap I found, which is difficult to explain, but it is, as Frederick Harron would say, my mentor, he says, he's look at the fundamentals. If you're going to look at some of the fundamentals of writing a book, he'd say you need to have a cover, which is a picture and a title and the author and a quote on the front of it. And he said, look at the fundamentals of what that is and then start taking things away. So in other words, what he ended up doing is taking his name off the front, just make it black book, small title, and it became very successful on bookshelves as well as around the world. That is what you do with looking at your stuff from a distance, but also cutting away the fun, looking at where do you find the gap.
Yeah, I can understand that because, well, I guess it's also acceptable because, it's the natural tendency of people to still do what they used to do, regardless if the situation changed or not. So in this case, it was a total change. In the Philippines, we started the lockdown on March 15, and 3 months, 3 months in a row, we are still not allowed to go out. So now it's kind of loose, but the thing is, we were surprised. This was unprecedented. We didn't expect about this.
Absolutely.
And just people try to, how do we survive? Where's the business? And almost every night, I tell my viewers that for a couple of days and weeks, I was a bum. I didn't know what to do. I lost the stage where I speak, and so I had to deny that this is happening. How was your emotional ride?
Oh, well, that's a very good question, because I would like to say that, and I want to be very honest about it, that my emotional roller coaster was quite a roller coaster a lot of the time. As that, I think that what happened for me is that I was pulling myself in a variety of different directions back into, being in Namibia and then also being here in Singapore, and then where do I want to be? So there was a lot of pull in different areas, and being unhappy not being in Canada, but then also saying, okay, just hunker down and be here. And I got very depressed at some points, and then I rose out of that. And then at some points I got depressed again, and then I rose out of that. And I realized that what happened is that I was doing some things in my life that I was not very happy about, and they weren't coming from my heart. And once I released those things that were not coming from my heart, all of a sudden the clouds lifted, so to speak, and I was able to move forward. And what do I mean by that is that now I'm able to really move in the direction of getting the nomadic mindset moving forward with the webinars and also products, the different projects and different packages for becoming more nomadic. As how do I learn to have more of a nomadic mindset? And so that's really exciting. But I don't think that would have come unless there was all of that downtime and the down in the emotional state. A guru said to me once, she said that you can't stay up on the mountain the whole time. You have to go to the valley, because the valley is the valley of learning, and then you can start back up the mountain again. And I really, that is the place. And I knew that intellectually. It's just that emotions sometimes take over. But I'm fine now.
Okay, very good. Tell us something about your story. Prior to you being a professional speaker and an author, I understand that you're a highly celebrated celebrity with a celebrity status in figure skating in Canada, the entire continent of Canada. Tell me something about your life back then.
Well, it's nice to know that you call it a continent. We'd love to call ourselves a continent. Continent of Canada would be fantastic. We are a country of Canada, which is very large, the second largest in the world, that's for sure, with very few people.
That's ironic then.
Yeah, exactly. We have 33 million people. Oh, no, 36 million people, I think, or something like that now.
We have 110 million people,
Yeah,
and it's just a tiny
yeah,
archipelago in the Pacific.
yes. But you have lots of islands, which is good.
7,100.
Wow.
If it is high tide, if it is low tide, it's 7,107.
Have you been to all of them, Lloyd?
Oh no, and I don't plan doing it, but who knows? I mean, if you can convince me about this nomadic mindset, maybe I can do it. The first ever Filipino who stepped on the 7,107 islands in the Philippines. Why not?
I think it's a goal for you. It's wonderful. It,
Don't
li-
don't get me started. You know,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
I can do that if you keep starting this.
So you asked me about my history, and that is something that people get interested in, I think. And I started off as a figure skater, and I was a champion figure skater in Canada. And then I became a choreographer. I was a dancer then, choreographer, where I wanted to combine the arts and sports together. And then with that, I was coaching and working with world and Olympic champions, national world Olympic champions from around the world, actually. And that was really very exciting. So you often in those days, you became the flavor of the month. And, and people would start to come to you because, oh, you're very good and you're, you're choreographing for the world champions and the top people in the world. So we would come to you. And that was great. However, for me, that was just not what I wanted to do all my life. And when I was 40, which was back in the dark ages, it seems now, is that
Yes, you say that again. When you were 40,
when I was 40, back in the dark
I
ages,
hope you're 40 now. So not true.
well, no, I must have been, that was a child. I was doing a child's job, yes, at that point in time. That was very good. Yeah. So when I was 40, I looked at my peers and I also looked at the people that I really love in the sport, and they were in their 60s and 70s still doing work and coaching. And I said, do I want to be like them? And what rose out of me very rapidly, and I said, no. And so then I said, okay, it's time to start moving on to other things. And so what I moved on to was a lot of big productions. Is that I started to direct and choreograph multi-million touring shows, figure skating shows, opening and closing ceremonies to the Olympics. I did the closing ceremonies for the Olympics in '88, and as a choreographer and director. And so it was wonderful to be able to have the experience of working with so many people. I mean, I worked with 3,000 people in one of the opening ceremonies and closing ceremonies, not just myself, but with a variety of different other choreographers as well. But I was the director for that. But it was exciting to do, and I think I learned an awful lot about that. But then again, I said, okay, that's not enough. And then I decided to become a filmmaker, a short dance filmmaker, and won a variety of different awards for filmmaking. And then I went, but that's not enough. And I got itchy again. And that's when I landed in coaching and keynote speaking and training. And that was exciting until a point 3 years ago that I began to realize that it really lacked a lot of purpose. That I was really not working from a place of what was my own product, what was my own reason. I was working with other people's training materials. I was working with my own speeches, but the point is that I was kind of happy, but not really happy, and I was not very joyful, and I was certainly not purposeful. And that's when I found the nomadic mindset, and it is my purpose to make this a movement around the world.
Before the movement, because I'm going to prelude your discussion about the nomadic mindset in a little while. You give me 6 minutes before I pause for the gap. But if you are in the position that you are in such a status, like the high status, like you're coaching these world champions and things like that, how does it occur to you that there's still something that is lacking? For some people, dreaming to be in your position, and now that you're in that position, to dream something else. How is it?
That's a really good piece of question, actually. So I can reflect back to a story. Is that I always had an ambition. I never made it to personally to become on the world stage as a competitor myself. But in our lives, sometimes it doesn't turn out exactly the way you want it, but it represents itself in another way, which is actually supposed to be the way. And that was that even though I was very good at what I did, I started to work with world champions. And that was a goal for me, and I achieved the goal. I wanted to be at the Olympic stage, but I was actually working as a choreographer of something bigger, not my own, but a bigger presentation. And that was an incredible feat that I succeeded in. But once I had that in myself, that was a goal, I realized that I'm finished with it. It's already exciting. I don't need to do it anymore. How many more can you do? It's just the same, sama, over and over again. Yes, different people, whichever. But I remember this very clearly, was that when I was working with the world champion, his name was Kurt Browning from Canada, and the first time around was absolutely so exciting. And then the second time he won, which was the next year, I was kind of excited, but I wasn't necessarily excited. And a journalist asked me, he said, "Oh, wow, aren't you excited about this? Is the second time he's won the world championship." And in my heart, I knew that it was over because I'd already accomplished the goal. And I could not get myself to say, okay, let's keep repeating. Why? Because for me, there's a much bigger world out there. You don't need to just stick to that. You've done it, let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that a lot of people in my field think, well, you were pretty crazy to do such a thing, but
yeah, because exactly that's what I thought. I mean, you are already in that stage, and you still have to risk whatever it is that you have made for many years, and you're not even sure if you're going to succeed in your next journey, so to speak.
But that doesn't matter. It's the learning and the growth that I get. Is that what I wanted to do was I realized that my life was very tiny in one area of specialty, and that was fine, but why would I want to continue to practice it? And I know that is what most people do, and you can find growth within that. But for me personally, it wasn't nomadic enough when I look back at it, that I needed to have a quest. I needed to have something bigger that was way bigger than me, something that I had to really learn. And that's just been my life, is to be able to do that. And I love the quest of learning and achieving and seeing what I can do. But it's the journey so much, as they say, and it's not. I don't think that's a silly thing to say, but it is the journey. It's not necessarily the destination. I mean, I reached the destinations, but it was fine. It was great. It was wonderful. I celebrated. And then I thought, okay, what's next?
Yeah, again, not too many people are keen on asking what's next. For them, it's like, one thing can actually last forever. And what happened during COVID is something like that people didn't have the mindset to immediately be agile and immediately move forward, make decisions fast and fast choices in order for them to move forward really fast, because the world has changed. Now, my question before I pause for a very short commercial is, when you first got out to the world, living with the nomads, because you started this journey and really put your heart into this research, what was the first piece of wisdom that you got? We're going to answer the question when the big picture returns. Please stay tuned.
Since I got my new place, I've enjoyed every single day here. Hotel-like amenities, attentive staff, resort-style living, all in a premium location. So life here is easy and convenient. That's why I invested in another unit. I can earn more. And they can enjoy the very same things I enjoy at home. What a life! So much more rewarding. So much more to life. SMDC.
We need beauty every day. We need power every day. Are you ready?
Ready? Ready.
Beauty is power.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Picture on the new channel. The last commercial that you saw, please watch tomorrow the world premiere of The Fourth Project with Bob Kilapio, July 8th, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Dubai time and 11 p.m. Philippine time. So we'll live stream from UAE. So please do watch. It's about transitioning from being an employee to being an entrepreneur. So the show will premiere again tomorrow, July 8th, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Dubai time and 11 p.m. Philippine time. I hope you can support our latest addition to the growing, the new channel or TNC family. Now, before I bring back my very special guest, maybe we can agree that we should see this one. Watch.
There is no beginning to your journey. There is no ending to your journey. You are migrating to expansion. There is no beginning to your leadership. There is no ending to your leadership. You are migrating to expansion. There is no beginning to who you are, and there's no ending to who you are. You are migrating to expansion. Migrate to expansion, to live in the nomadic mindset, to never settle for too long. In your mind, always move, always expand to discover better routes and greener pastures. This is where great humans thrive. Are you ready to migrate to expansion? Your time is now more than ever before. If you let this moment pass, you may just miss this moment to thrive. I invite you to take a deep breath, look to your horizons, and step into the nomadic mindset uncovered.
Goosebumps, ladies and gentlemen. That's the first time that I saw it. Sorry, I had to admit it. It was the first time that Kevin sent me the link, so I downloaded it and then decided we can show it in the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, the man himself, the nomadic mindset creator, Kevin Cottam. Kevin, congratulations. That was amazing.
Thanks an awful lot. Lloyd, I'm very excited by the little video clip, and I've been playing around thinking, well, I want to do a video clip that's really powerful, like most speakers, like pow, 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 and here you are on the stage. And then I was working, I worked with this fellow, his name is Alistair Harding, and he said, well, I think we have a different idea. I have a different idea because of what I heard, what you've written and what you've sent as a voiceover. And so this is what he sent. And I thought, I don't want the pow, pow, pow. This is what I'm talking about going into the gap. I was thinking the other way. And this is going into the gap because this actually fits mostly with who I am and the way I present. It's not like rah, rah. I'm not a rah, rah kind of guy. And
sorry to cut you there, but I know because I felt you in that clip. You know what I mean? I mean, we talked for a while when we were here in the Philippines over breakfast along the shore.
Yes, exactly.
Overlooking the Manila Bay. But I thought it's you. The way it was presented, it's very you. It's sincere. It's very simple. But I couldn't think of anything else that can fit or match your personality than the one that I saw in the clip.
Well, thank you. I'm very grateful. And
I also think it is timely because there is no beginning and there is no ending in crisis.
Yeah.
You just have to migrate from another one. I'm not saying that God give us more crisis, but it happens whether we pray for it or not. I mean, things will come and go, and we are migrating, and we should be growing at the same time. So, tell me something about this incredible journey of you leaving your comfort zone, living with the nomads.
Well, I should ask you that question.
when you have a show on TNC and
okay, all right. Again, that's the next one. All right. I have to say that one of the things that has touched me most of all is the humanity. And because what you're doing is you're getting to the rawness of life. The people, the nomadic cultures, whether they were in Mongolia, whether in Kenya, with the Maasai, or the Berbers in the southern Morocco, in the Sahara, there was a humanity that you see, which is on a rawness of qualities and behaviors that are communal and that they honor each other. It is a collective wisdom and an honoring of each other. And I found how that was so beautiful. I know that when I left Morocco, one of the things that happened was that I was sitting in the Maison de Nomade in Timerte, which was in an oasis. And there was a couple they were from Germany and from Netherlands. And they'd just been out in the Sahara spending time with the nomads. And I was sitting there with my photographer, and we got talking, as one would do, over a camel couscous. And that was, for a vegetarian, I decided to try the camel, and it actually was very good. And so that was one thing that was wonderful. But she said, after our conversation, she said, we really have lost the plot, haven't we? And I went, bing, inside of myself, and I thought, absolutely, we've lost the plot. And this was back a few years ago. And of course, many people have said similar different ways. And my premise for my book is that we have become too narrow in our thinking, and we need to expand. We need to expand our thinking patterns, the way we see things, so that we can expand to see multiple possibilities. That is also inclusivity of different races and genders and religions. And I thought that we've become too narrow in our thinking patterns, that we are excluding, constantly separating things and putting barriers up, and because of our comfort zone. And it's all fine. It's just that when we get into situations like today in the COVID, this is not an individual bordered place, even though we shut down the borders of countries, the virus is global. It is that global sense that any virus can be global. Anything can be, and we are impacted today by multiple viruses, whether it be in the geopolitical scenarios, the way organizations sometimes work, the way the climate change has worked, the way racism, all of these things are, we have put, I believe, a variety of narrowness in that thinking. We need to expand the conversations, which some people are doing very heroically and beautifully. But if we bring it down to ourselves and individuals, it's how do we wish to see the world? How do we want to walk into that world? Do we want to walk into the very narrow thinking? And what does that do for you? It closes you in. It stops you from being able to think about, learning and growing outside of your boundaries, outside of your comfort zone. Because the comfort zone, it molds you and it dulls you into this is what is real, which is not true.
Yeah,
you know what?
If they say that nothing lasts forever, and then nothing lasts forever, that is basically what it is. But I'm saying is, it became so hard for us to accept that we are now in a lockdown and we cannot report to our offices, which once we did, and the adjustment became so messy that people became disoriented, absorbed, anxious about things, and confused. And now, come to think of it, 3 months in a row, and people started to get the feel of, wow, it's okay now to work at home. And then suddenly you open the economy and say, you go back to work again. So it's a never-ending discomfort, so to speak. So I can feel you, and I can relate to that. Not being narrow in thinking, because once we do that, and then we keep ourselves from growing as well.
And that growing stops us from our incredible potential. I mean, the humanity has amazing potential that we're not using, of our brain or our whole soul or whichever. And I talk about the mindset. And it's not just the brain. It's not just up there. As neuroscience says, there's 3 brains that we have, one in the mind, one in the heart, and one in the gut. And it's about using that complete flow and movement back and forth between all of them. And that's what when we get locked in the head and blocked and stuck and all of these things and stressed, it's because so many different factors are creating it. However, we just slowly narrowed ourselves in, and we can't find the way out. And that's what coaching does, right? Coaching asks a lot of questions and gets curious and starts to expand you and start thinking, wow, this is cool. I can see a sea of thoughts and sea of ideas.
Most things that they don't see, and then the coach lets you see that. But this is just a curious question. Has it ever occurred to you that even up to until now, life for you is about movement? Because when you were still a figure skating champ and trainer and coach, it's about movement. You cannot stop moving, otherwise you fail.
Absolutely, Lloyd. I want to share that this whole thing about the nomadic mindset is, and I will say it, is the nomadic mindset is the movement of the mind. So the movement of the heart, the movement of the gut, the movement of the mind, the brain, the left and right side. It is about the movement, but it's also the physical, the whole physical body. We are never not moving. And people say, oh, there's no movement. But it's not. Everything is moving. You wouldn't be able to survive if there wasn't movement within you. And that is the challenge that stopped us a lot with COVID. It put borders up. We couldn't go out. And then I tried for myself, how do I move around a small apartment? How do I do my exercises? And that was driving me crazy a little bit. How do I get out so that I can move and walk up and down the stairs? It's about movement. And we have to realize that if we do not move, we do not flush the energy and toxins around in our body and out of our body. And it's really about keeping all of our cellular cells and neurons and everything moving. And that is how we achieve in life. is movement. Everything is movement. Everything is energy.
Good. No more question, Your Honor.
You wanted, there's one, you said when I left there, there's one quote which I think is really valuable. Well, there's multiple ones that are
Yeah,
valuable.
the wisdom. I was asking the wisdom.
The
I remember
wisdom.
now. Yeah.
And when I was in the Masai Mara in Kenya, there's a fellow by the name of Benson Muntari, and he was a warrior. He had been through the warrior status to be and that's very important in the Maasai culture. And he's now, as many people do, work in the hospitality industry, so he's now a waiter. But I asked him about migration and what migration meant. And so migration is two things. One, to move from one pasture to another because of survival. So you move from where growth is. And so if you eat up all the grass in one area, you need to grow somewhere else. And then you sustainably you go back because the grass is then grown. So it's this constant cycle. But what he said to me was this beautiful quote. And he said, "We are migrating. Where we were is not where we are. We are evolving." I thought, my God, so appropriate for right now. And it is always, but how appropriate for now. And the whole idea of migration is not a dirty word that is created by politics and immigration. It is a movement. Everything is moving. Everything is migrating. The other day that I was talking to somebody that is in digital and IT, and he makes apps and things like that. And he says, "Oh, we have to migrate the data from here to there and migrate." And I said, "See, you are migrating." I said, "This is a word that is used, and this is a beautiful word. And we're always migrating, which means movement."
Yeah, but yeah, the only thing is most people find migrating messy and toxic and really uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
But it's a way of life for the nomads. To those of you who are watching, Kevin did a research about the nomads, and the research was because he has to have something, a specific topic for himself, because he does not want to become a generic speaker, right? So the soul searching became a research and studied the culture of the nomads in how many countries? 2, 3 countries?
Well, Mongolia, a little bit, and then Kenya, Morocco, and the Southern Sahara, and then a little bit in Namibia. And
Right.
that's not the end. I will continue to do a nomadic journey every 2 years as long as I'm able to. So that's
Yeah.
my objective.
Plus the Philippines Cordillera, the
Absolutely, we do that together.
yeah, all right, good.
Yeah, absolutely.
The journey was so life changing for you. How life changing was it? Having having done the research and your discoveries your discoveries were so amazing. I was amazed by it, and we were talking over breakfast and said, these people are kind of moving forward, but they are not really sure what they are doing. And the two of us are saying, these people in the past, they were more sensual. I don't know the term. They have more wisdom that we thought we have more, but they had more during the ancient times. Tell me something about the discoveries and how life changing was your research.
I mean, for me, it was a huge life change simply because I came from, what my life, which was fairly successful and goes up and down and whatever, very reward, whichever. But for me, this was the big shift. And why did I say that? Because it hit my heart, and I became so connected to the people of the land, and also exploring what they saw, what they felt, as much as I could in my own world. And then how can we relate that to today's world? And I think there's a couple of words that really resonate for me, and that is one of gratitude. I realize that people with very little have so much gratitude for everything, and that gratitude comes from the heart, and that they work from the heart and they work from the instinct. So they also work from the brain because there's an intelligence, but they work through all systems of the mind. But I think for me, it was that, and also the whole idea of sharing and giving back and being able to do philanthropic work to help them. And that's what I do now, is to support young young Maasai children to school, and also another Namibian fellow who to university, is to help them along their journey. And it's not necessarily money all the time. It is also inspiration that I get from them, and helping them, talking to them, and just them sharing their wisdom and me sharing what I have and what I found, and being the bridge in some ways, and me, and finding ways for them to also be a bridge between the old ancient wisdom of their cultures and the new. So I think that's something that I've learned so much, and that's been life-changing for me. And yeah, I mean, even during COVID, I started a GoFundMe to help my communities that have been with me, so that they could survive during this period, because you have to know that what happens with many of the people, and one of them, Jeff's, he in one of the Maasai that I helped towards education, but he has also become a really young leader to be able to lead and use the money in a very productive way to help his community and communities around it, as well as the other champions that I have there. And it's just exciting to see. It's just really, really excites me.
Yeah. Wan Lu, one of the hosts on TNC, says, so cool. I realized that even in puppetry, movement is very important.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
What can I say? Can you imagine puppetry without movement?
No.
And then it's an art. So everything is movement. Sabi ni Melanie Condes, she says, everything is movement, everything is energy. Ma'am Susan says, very interesting topic, but connection is fluctuating. Oh, it's movement of the...
It's movement.
That's why it's fluctuating. All right. I'm going to pause for a very short commercial, and then when we come back, we'll have a game. Are you in?
I'm in. I'm not sure I will do well, but I'm not.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. The big picture will return.
We need beauty every day. We need power every day. Are you ready?
Ready? Ready.
Beauty is power.
We rise as one. Leave the pain behind. For the future is bright. Know that we are here to help you rise again. The new channel. See the new.
And And we are back. Welcome back to the big picture and the new channel. Before I continue, we continue with the game, which our guest is very confident at winning. I'm inviting everyone to watch our other shows. HR Hotline with Jesse Bustillo streams every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 12 noon. iBusiness with Dr. Mike and Bert, streamed from Texas and Tennessee, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And the fourth project, which will be premiering tomorrow with Bob Kilapio, will be on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 7 p.m. Dubai time, 11 p.m. Manila time. And U-Turn with Carmen Ortega, Mondays and Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. The Home Buyer with Dante Salamat, Mondays, Thursdays at 4 p.m. And The Puppet Stores with Wanlu, Tuesdays and Fridays at 5. And a TNC original, The Marketplace, streams every Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 9:30 p.m. Hopefully you supports the show. Now let's bring back the confident gentleman, Canadian but now in Singapore, Kevin Cottam, my guest for tonight. Okay, Kevin, are you ready?
Oh God! You know what? I get nervous with games. I tell you. I mean, it's like
You have competed in so many games with thousands of people watching, and now we only have a number of people watching our show tonight. So relax, you can win this. So this is a big or small game. I'm going to mention one particular word, and if you want it big, you say big. If you want it small, you simply say small. Ready? Are you ready?
yeah. Okay.
Come on, are you with me?
I'm with you. Okay, I didn't know that. I had to say yes. Big.
No, not yet. Frappuccino.
Small.
Car.
Big.
House.
Big.
Family.
Depends.
Not in the option, but who cares? Banana.
Small.
Credit limit in credit cards.
Big.
Planet in the solar system.
Big.
Bed.
Small.
Wristwatch.
Small.
Bag.
Small.
If heaven is true and you're going to go up there now, who's the person you would like to take with you?
Who is the person?
You would like you to take with you.
You, Lloyd.
Come on! You're the seventh person who said it. Apple said my spot is guaranteed. Oh, wow. What a convenient name to drop, right?
I can use another one if you want.
Okay. Who's the
Kalenga.
second?
Kalenga.
Okay.
Kalenga.
Good luck. You are a barber. The name of the celebrity that you want to do his or her hair.
Celebrity. I'm not very good with celebrities, but Mel Gibson, I'd like to cut it all off.
Okay. You are a gym instructor. Name a political leader that you want to train in the gym.
Trump, of course.
Of course, as if, of course. If you are an astronaut, who would you like to take in the outer space?
Okay. So I have to be close with it. All right. I would take my friend Karen with me.
Okay. Good luck, Karen. If you have all the money in the world, which company are you going to buy?
Unilever.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think you passed the exam.
Oh, phew. God.
Now we can breathe. All right. Okay, Kevin, we have a few minutes left in the show, and again, I would like to thank you really for coming over. I'm sure
Thank you.
uh, this is not free lunch, so let me treat you when you come back to the Philippines. But tell me something about the nomadic mindset. I heard you have something coming up. Is it a seminar or a
Well,
webinar?
no, I'm doing an introductory webinar slash Zoom meeting on June. We're in July 9th. So in 2 days, I have it at 7:30 Singaporean time, and we have a link for it at some place. There we go, and it is for an hour, and I will introduce what is the nomadic mindset, and also how you can become a little bit more nomadic as well. So that is what I'm doing with that, and I'm very excited about it. We have a few spaces left, not so many, but you can get the Eventbrite and to come along and enjoy. Let's do it.
Okay, and we are going to post the link on the comment section of our stream tonight, so you don't get lost. But this is interesting. I hope I can sign up now before the slots run out. Let me do it now.
You can do it now.
Now as we speak.
Yeah.
Okay, so the date is July 19th. Sorry, July 9, 7:30
Yeah.
p.m.
Mhm.
This is PHT time. Online event. So the nomadic mindset uncovered. Wow, interesting.
I'm going to uncover the
Yeah,
nomadic
I
mindset.
like the voice. Uncover, like.
Uncover.
All right, good. Despite the things that are happening around, things are getting crazier and crazier. We're trying to go back to the old normal, which is non-existent, by the way. Trying to build a new world. This is a new world order, some say. What is the big picture? Something that you can see that probably most people don't in what's happening today.
I think what's happened most of all, and what I've found in my research, is that organizations and leaders today recognize that they need to have more people that have a nomadic mindset. My dream is that there are more people that have a nomadic mindset to be able to help us through the future, which is inclusive of the planet, understanding all of the interconnections in the planet. And that, I believe, is going to come forward. We have to have hope in that. I do not believe in what those two ends were, the new normal. I think makes me actually sick to think about it, simply because I believe in you. We're in a new world order. And we need to see things as that the evolution. This is the time to evolve in all our different areas of life. And this is that movement. Beautiful dance of movement of evolution. It's like an amoeba moving, in different ways. And that's the exciting part of discovery and ideas, and giving birth to ideas and thoughts and ways forward. To me, that is the way forward, is a combination of the different mindsets. But the nomadic mindset needs to really, within people, come alive.
Wow.
And that,
and that is the big picture.
that's the big picture.
Okay, that's interesting. You know why? Because you know, some leaders ask me, "What's the plan?" And I say, "Well, there's no plan." I mean, if you're going to think about it, the plan is not to have a plan, since everything is moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
So when you grow, you don't exactly plan how to grow, and the thing exactly that you have in mind. But if there's anything, just the decision, the choice to grow is already enough for you to do it. What I'm saying, I guess, is at this point in our lives, you're correct. We have to migrate. We have to change our mind. This is a perfect opportunity because everything is still moving parts, meaning nothing is fixed at the moment. This is an intertwining things. It's a web of opportunities, a web of
Mhm.
losses, just so much webs that you can actually create something for yourself. And this is the best time for us to do that. I mean, if you fail, it's all right. I mean, you can laugh at yourself
Yeah,
because everyone else is failing around you. I mean, they
absolutely.
don't, they are not getting their stance at the moment.
Mm. It, it's that one thing that is actually in the world is that we live in a world at which we've told to be separate. Everything needs to be separate. And the thing is that that's not true in the real world. Everything is interconnected. You do something wrong in one side and to another side. If you do something, say something wrong to that has a repercussion somewhere else. Everything has an equal opposite, the polarities. And I sense that we need to realize that it's all interconnected.
Mm. Yeah, so that our decision is now multifaceted.
Yeah.
It's not only one one angle or one sided or one dimensional. Uh,
Mm.
I had an interview in this show a couple of days ago. I think the first episode, the season opening of the fourth
Mm.
season, and
Mm.
she said, we were trained to think um, in one dimension.
Mm.
Like doctor will think that this issue is a health issue only, but COVID is not a one-dimensional issue. There is an economy and there is this and that and many other things. So if our leaders are trained to think with a narrow mind, like this is the only thing, the only solution that
Yeah.
we can do, I think they're missing a lot of point, and it's not being nomad.
It's not allowing that movement of the expansion, and we need to migrate to expansion and to be able to have the fluidity between expanding and narrow focusing, not narrow stuck, but narrow focusing and getting locked in. It is the fluidity to move back out, to come back in, to go back out, to come back in. It is that movement. And
Mhm.
that's what nomadic, the nomads that I have experienced and their cultures are able to do naturally.
Okay, let's close the conversation with because as speakers, we are not going to end this.
Yeah.
So as a host, I think it's my responsibility to say enough is enough.
Enough
but
is fine with me.
before I say enough, tell me something as a closing. Tell me something about what you shared with me when you were here in Manila. That you interviewed the leader of a tribe, and then you ask him about change, and
Mm.
his answer actually made you look at yourself as someone fool or something. Tell me something about that experience.
Yeah, I would go along and I would often ask some very first world questions. And so I felt that kind of silly at times because I often would ask, how do you deal with trust, or how do you grow trust, how do you build trust? And then I would ask the question, well, how do you deal with change? And I remember the look I would get was like, change? Why do you even talk about it? Because they would say to me, you're spending a lot of energy on something that is always happening. So it's just normal. It happens all the time. So I wouldn't worry about change. It's about, how do I live within all of that? How do I survive within all of that? But you just take it as a way of life. And for us, that's a really hard thing to do. For them, it's normal. It's natural. It just happens as the sun comes up, the sun goes down. That's change.
Yeah,
Everything is in.
because I can remember back in the old days, companies, organizations are getting speakers who can talk about change in 1 hour or maybe a day's training, and then they thought That's it. I mean, after the seminar, it's
Yeah.
Kevin Cottam anyway, so we must be able to accept change so easily because we had that 1 day seminar or 1 hour
Exactly.
speech. But it's not what it means. It means that it should be part of life. So in a way, it's cultural thing,
Mhm.
and that's what we can learn from the nomads. That they just keep on moving. They
Just
don't
keep
settle.
moving.
They don't
You
settle
know,
for.
they settle, and then they know when it's time to move on. Because
Yeah.
so moving on is, there's risk to it for the family, the communities. However, they know they have to at some point, and so they
Mm.
just accept it as life because it's called survival.
Right.
And what we've had to do during COVID is survival,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, exactly. I mean, once we're done with this, who knows what's going to happen next? But at least we're prepared.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
training for us. I think this is the biggest challenge in the world right now. I mean, world
Yeah.
leaders are thinking about how to solve it, and it's like still um, far fetched. We still don't have the vaccine and things like that. But anyway,
Mhm.
as I said, this isn't gonna stop. So let me put a stop to it by saying thank you so much, Kevin, for a wonderful time. I enjoyed it. Always
I
a pleasure
had
with you.
Thank you, Lloyd, and thanks, Apple. This is wonderful. I've had a great, great time as usual. I love being with you, Lloyd. It's just a natural existence for the two of us. We are connecting at the heart and the mind and the gut all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it.
And that being said, we're going to expect that very very soon we're gonna have a show here on TNC.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, that should be great. I mean, we have the connection, so let's maximize it. Thank you so much, Kevin Cottam, the
You.
author of The Nomadic Mindset, originally from Canada, now in Singapore, had the trip in Mongolia and Sahara, and who knows where else he will settle, but not for too long. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you so much, Lloyd.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, how has this night been for you? Thank you so much for watching The Big Picture tonight. The Big Picture is presented to you by Puzzlebox BPO Inc., also supported and sponsored by Unisol, SMDC, Lularan, Telepreneur, Step Back, Creative Voices, and PAPS. I'm going to see you again tomorrow. Good night, everyone, and always, always be safe. Bye bye.